In the news tonight, conscious drive to entrenching sustainable peace described as bedrock for development. As Nigeria joins the war to mark World Stroke Day today, experts say drug abuse is at the foundation of stroke. VP Osibanjo governor's meeting over minimum wage impasse ends inconclusive. And on the foreign scene, Trump blames media for division and hatred in the U.S. Good evening and thanks for joining us on ABS Television News. I am Franklin Onyekachi. Now the news in details. Peace has been described as pivotal to both communal and national progress. This was the point of discussion when a delegation of United Nations Peace and Positive Living Awareness Center, PPOLAC, paid a courtesy visit to one of its members and traditional ruler of Umueri, Igwe Saben Emeka, at his palace. We have details.
On the aim of the visit, the PPOLAC International Coordinator, Right Reverend Dr. Ozioma Ozemena, said Igwe Emeka's efforts in entrenching communal peace that fosters development were worth applauding, making specific reference to the traditional rulers' outstanding roles in checkmating herdsmen excesses in the state. Bishop Ozemena also said the association plans to collaborate with the traditional ruler on his upcoming Ofala Festival, where he will be presented with the United Nations flag and certificate of charter as an international peace advocate.
And God has given you this privilege and the help to do all these things. So we are saying to you that more is being expected, and we'll continue to partner with you in your programs as relates your kingdom and the state, and to let you know that we are solidly behind you.
Igwe Emeka, in his response, described peace as important for harmonious coexistence and affirmed that the presence of wars and antagonism in any society only set the course of development backwards. The royal father, who made short reference to his roles during the Aguleri Umueri communal turbulence of the late 90s, noted that his fights for peace had been on long before he became the king and pledged to remain at the forefront of peace building.
Senseless killing. What is this senseless burning of churches, burning of houses? And we come to a realization that there is no sense in that. Then all of us agreed that there will be no more war in this our area.
Also in the PPOLAC, Ontala was the Director, News and Current Affairs of the Anambra Broadcasting Service, ABS, Mr. Gabe Obaleze, who is also a UN Ambassador for World Peace. The traditional ruler was also presented with stickers bearing messages of peace by the group as a parting souvenir. From Umueri, Anambra East Council area, Daniel Ezigwe, reporting for ABS News.
The State Sector Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Mr. Sunday Ajay, has called on the citizenry to always see road safety measures as a collective responsibility. He spoke during a public enlightenment program at Iron and Steel Market, Onitsha. Blessing Ijedibia has the details.
According to Corps Commander Sunday Ajay, most road mishaps are caused by road users calling for caution while on highway. He said keeping road safety should not be left in the hands of the regular and special marshals, but should be the responsibility of all, as life has no duplicates. Corps Commander Ajay, who underscored the importance of iron and steel transporters in safety matters, emphasized on the need for them and other road users to obey traffic rules as well as keep their vehicles in order. Mr. Ajay also hammered on the need for proper vehicle registration and to obtain a valid driver's license, reminded road users of 100 km/h speed limit. He said the Commission will soon flag off Ember Month safety campaign, promising a hitch-free ride during this year's Christmas and New Year celebration.
Death on the highways became and is still a big problem to everybody. You see somebody this morning and he wants to get to work, the next moment is bye-bye. One good thing that we should know is that accident will just not occur. Accident will not just happen. It is caused by somebody.
On his part, the chairman, Iron Rod and Steel Transport Association, Onitsha, Prince Ike Anyekwa, while appreciating the effort of the Commission in ensuring road safety, promised the station's readiness to partner FRSC in safeguarding lives on the nation's highway.
We want to thank you very, very much. And we also want to thank your men, especially our commander here. We are going to strengthen our relationship with him after this time. So that even when we have this once in a while, that he can be coming around for us to stay. is our person. We pledge to work with road safety for our own safety. We are not working with you because we love you so much or because we are afraid, but I think it's pertinent that we work with you so that we can be safe too on the road.
Contributing, the chairman of the Drivers' Union, Chief Augustine Oti, pleaded for more cordial relationship between road users and the commission, stressing that such will enhance road safety.
Of what we are going through on the highway because of some overzealous of their men on the highways. Sometimes we will have a breakdown and you put your still caution that will always show that this vehicle has a breakdown. And they will come there. Instead of becoming a helping hand to us, they will put us into more problems.
Nigerians have been urged to maintain healthy and moderate lifestyle in order to reduce the burden of stroke in the society. Speaking on the commemoration of this year's World Stroke Day, a medical practitioner, Dr. Aladinobi Chimezie, cautioned that unhealthy diet could increase the chances of having stroke, as it could lead to an increase in blood pressure and cholesterol level. Blessing Uchendo has the details.
Dr. Aladinobi explained that the best way to prevent stroke is to eat healthy diet, exercise regularly, avoid excessive smoking and drinking of alcohol and other things that could limit oxygen and nutrients to the brain, stressing that stroke could cause permanent damage to the brain or even death.
If the blood pressure is too high, you have to bring it down to a particular level. You don't crash it, bring it down to a particular level, because there's what we call mean arterial blood pressure that we'll look into. But these things are technical work. You control the sugar level if there is any. You rehydrate. That is, you make the person get enough circulation, blood circulating well and fluid. You understand me? Then you place on some other medication.
On his part, a pharmacist, Sir George Ezenwa, who noted that stroke, which is one of the causes of death and disability, which could happen to anyone at any age, irrespective of status, explained that though there are therapies to reduce brain injury from acute stroke, prevention remains the most effective strategy to reducing the health consequences and loss often occasioned by stroke. Stressing the need for regular medical checks, he urged youth to avoid the abuse of drugs and other intoxicants, as well as strive to be actively engaged in productive ventures to avoid risk factors like anger, depression, and high blood pressure, and as well increase intake of fruits and vegetables.
When somebody grows up, especially those of us who are carrying loads, the family is struggling for the upkeep of the family, and whatever you have to balance the economy of the family, a lot of things come into play. One has to go and do some periodic checks and know how the body is standing.
Also speaking on the day, the founder Center for Psychic Healing Administration, OCA, Dr. Mrs. Flora Ilonzo, explained that two broad categories of stroke exist, namely stroke that occurs due to blockage of blood flow and one caused by bleeding in the brain. She enumerated warning signs of stroke to include sudden numbness or weakness of face, arm or leg, especially on one side of the body, among others, and advised people to cut down on salt intake and ensure that they get enough sleep every day.
Through our research and our findings, 25% of stroke is what medical team they can handle, that causes by high blood pressure because of tension. But 75 they can't prove. They don't know what they cause. Stroke, some people will start to have stroke by saying that they are having hallucination.
World Stroke Day, observed on October 29th every year, was initiated by World Stroke Organization in 2006 to underscore the serious nature and high rate of stroke, raise awareness of the prevention and treatment of the condition, and ensure better care and support for survivors. Theme for this year's World Stroke Day is support. In Oka, Blessing Uchendo, reporting for ABS News.
As part of activities lined up to mark the 27th year anniversary of Orumba South local government area, an inaugural lecture was held at the Federal College of Education Technical Umunze. Correspondent Emmanuel Okonkwo was there and now reports.
The event, which was a moment of sober reflection for the people of the area on the journey so far, attracted political stakeholders, traditional rulers, captains of industry and religious leaders, among others. Delivering a lecture on Orumba South yesterday, today and tomorrow, the member representing Orumba North and South Federal Constituency at the National Assembly, Chief Ben Nwankwo, described the people of the area as benevolent, which according to him was evident in their ability to harbor and protect refugees during the war, and noted that the local government area is divinely blessed with talented people with different skills, natural endowments, including the Obuhu Cave and waterfalls. Chief Nwankwo, while tracing the political history of the area, observed that they have been backward in the state's polity and emphasized the need for them to forget their individual differences and collectively work on how to secure a bright future for the younger generations.
So today we have this place as a federal university of education technical. We will have more than enough strength. In fact, you will be forced to be selecting only the best among the best. But it can only happen when we start acting together, when we start talking together, when we start planning together. We cannot be existing from different places and hope to get to the same destination. That's not possible.
In a speech, the Transition Committee Chairman for the local government area, Mr. Raymond Onyegu, who noted that the event was aimed at rekindling the spirit of love and unity amongst the people, charged them to always strive to contribute their quota to the development of the council.
Our illustrious sons and daughters who have made their marks in different fields of endeavor. In the last 27 years, they have done so much within and outside the Orumba South, but nobody has remembered that a prophet should also be honored, even within his own community.
Earlier in his opening remarks, the chairman of the occasion, Chief Ben Oranose, tasked the people on peace, forgiving spirit, and unity of peoples for them to be able to realize the greater local government area of their dream.
We can get there. Umunze as a town, I know we are working with even our honorable member here to see if we can upgrade this to university status.
In their separate speeches, the chairman of the planning committee of the event, Mr. Chukwudi Ugochukwu, and the traditional ruler of Naofeja, Igwe Clifford Okeke, described the event as remarkable and commended the transition committee chairman of the local government area, Mr. Onyegu, for the initiative. From Umunze, in Orumba South local government area, I am Emmanuel Okonkwo, reporting for ABS News.
Members of the economic management team, led by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, today met with some state governors with a view to taking a position on the new national minimum wage. The meeting held inside the presidential villa, Abuja, ended inconclusive. State governors attending the meeting were Zamfara State Governor Abdulaziz Yari, Kebbi State Governor Atiku Bagadu, Osun State Governor Rauf Ariboshala, and Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong. Apart from Oshibanjo, others who attended the meeting from the side of the federal government were the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, Minister of Labor and Employment, Chris Ngige, Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, and Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udoma Udo Udoma. Others were the Head of Service of the Federation, Mrs. Winifred Oyoita, Director General, National Salaries, Income and Wages Commission, Chief Richard Ebule, and the Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris. And now business news. For business news, over now to David Obokwasale.
National Petroleum Corporation and its subsidiary Nigerian Petroleum Development Company and other companies in the oil and gas sector have yet to remit a total revenue of $22.06 billion and 481.75 billion naira to the Federation account. Latest report on the summary of the unremitted revenue, losses and unreconciled differences from operations and transactions in the oil and gas sector released in Abuja today by the Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative show that the NMPC alone had yet to remit a total of $19.04 billion and 424.57 billion naira. Providing a breakdown of the unremitted revenues by the other firms, the report stated that oil and gas sector producing companies were still withholding $152.69 billion and 5.2 billion naira. Companies involved in offshore processing contracts owe $498.6 million and NMPDC owe $2.3 billion and 51.95 billion naira. The NAETI report stated that the total losses to the Federation arising from crude oil production, processing and transportation was $3.04 billion and 60.99 billion naira. It said unreconciled differences arising from the allocation, sale and remittance of proceeds from domestic crude allocated to NMPC was 317.48 billion naira.
And on the foreign scene, U.S. President Donald Trump has blamed the media for division and hatred in the country as Americans took stock of a gunman's attack on a Pittsburgh synagogue that killed 11 worshippers. In a post today on Twitter, Trump said that the fake news is doing everything in their power to blame Republicans, conservatives, and him for division and hatred that has been going on for so long in the country. Trump had initially called for unity in the face of Saturday's assault on the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh in a week in which prominent Democrats were the target of pie bombs sent through the mail, allegedly by a Trump supporter in Florida. But he quickly reverted to form attacking the media and potential Democratic rivals for the presidency at a rally and on Twitter as Americans look forward to crucial midterm election November 6. In an open letter on Sunday, a group of Jewish leaders from Pittsburgh said Trump bore responsibility for encouraging white nationalist sentiments that led to the synagogue attack. The signers said that until Trump fully denounced white nationalism, he will not be welcomed in Pittsburgh. However, Jeffrey Myers, a Tree of Life rabbi who was in the synagogue when the heavily armed gunman burst in on worshippers, said Trump would be welcome if he visited. And now sports. At last, ace footballer Cristiano Ronaldo has revealed why he left Real Madrid, saying he decided to leave the club for Juventus after sensing that the Spanish club's president, Florentino Perez, no longer saw him as being indispensable. The 33-year-old Portuguese superstar joined Juventus in a €100 million deal in July, ending a glorious 9-year association with Real. His last act with the Spanish club was to participate in them winning the Champions League for a third consecutive season by beating Liverpool in the final in May. But Zinedine Zidane departed as coach in the wake of that game, something which Ronaldo admits confirmed to him that it might be the time to move on. He added that he would deserve to win the Ballon d'Or this year, and in doing so would surpass Lionel Messi, by taking the award for the sixth time. The winner of the prize, awarded by France Football, will be announced in early December. It was a moment of expression of grief when the remains of late Mr. Emmanude Iweli were committed to the earth at his compound in Umudioka village, Oka, over the weekend. Late Mr. Iweli, who was a staff of the transport unit of ABS, died at the age of 58. Queen Anambra was at the funeral service and filed in this report.
The priest in charge of Holy Ghost Ministry, Oka, Pastor Cyril Ohebunam, said death is a necessary end for all mortals. Pastor Ohebunam explained that no man has power over death except Jesus Christ, adding that anyone who is not born again is dead already.
Is that Jesus said that time will come when those who will hear his voice, those that are dead and are buried, will rise up and come to judgment. So I summarize that every person should accept Jesus Christ as personal Lord and Savior. So without
Speaking earlier while the deceased was lying in state at ABS headquarters, Oka, the MD, CEO, Nze Uchenwora, described late Mr. Ibeli as a good man and thanked God for his grown-up children, advising them to follow in the footsteps of their father.
And for the rest of the staff, I want to encourage everybody. Emma, I mean, from a distance that I knew him, you know, he wasn't looking for anybody's trouble, always with you, respect you. So I wish that we'll continue along that path. So I want to encourage everybody and I wish the family well. Thank you very much. Yes.
Also in a sermon, Reverend Basil Oji of the ABS noted that people are only remembered by what they did while alive, reiterating that a life without Jesus Christ is futile. In an interview, some of the deceased children, Mr. Chukwudi and Miss Ifeoma Ibeli, gave glowing tributes to their late father and thanked all that identify with them in their moment of mourning. In their remarks, the siblings to the deceased, Chief Chukwudi Obiora and Reverend Mrs. Victoria Isaac, admonished the children to make Jesus their ally in order to be victorious in life battles and thanked the ABS for their support to the family. The ABS family also paid a condolence visit to late Mr. Ibeli family, led by the Director of Finance, Mrs. Neka Obuong. Condolence visit from friends, relatives, and well-wishers featured in the ceremony. From Umudioka, Oka, Queen, and Ibogu, ABS News.
That report concludes our news bulletin for tonight, but remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging on to our website at www.absradiotv.com, like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/ABSRadioTelevision, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABSRadioTV. And to end the news, another look at the main stories. Conscious drive to entrenching sustainable peace described as bedrock for development. Nigeria has joined the rest of the world to mark World Stroke Day, as experts say drug abuse is at the foundation of stroke. Vice President Oshibanjo governors meeting in Aso Rock over minimum wage impasse has ended inconclusive. And on the foreign scene, we told you that Trump has blamed the media for division and hatred in the U.S. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Do have a pleasant night rest. I am Franklin Onyekachi.